Discovering your personal identity is a journey that often takes a lifetime to truly complete. Throughout this course, identity has been a strong theme. Identity is a labyrinth, a personally granted token of individuality that belongs solely to us, that we must have the courage to deeply discover and embrace. Comprised of various beautifully interwoven but separately moving parts, in the end, it is truly the only thing that we can call our own, belonging to no one else but you. What makes you the same, and what sets you apart? This journey of self-discovery, for some, has been shrouded and tinged by hurdles and barriers. Things like historical negationism and denialism, inequality, injustices, and unfair treatment. So where does our identity come from? For many, it begins with the family they're born into. Your family can give you aspects of your identity such as race, culture, religion, politics, values, and social class. There are also others that are more distinct to you, like your gender, sex, ability and disability, and age. Also, the family aspects could be more specific to you if you choose to divert and go down a path different than the one that your family set for you. For me, identity is something I've always struggled with. I grew up in a hectic and unhealthy home, one where there wasn't much time spent sharing values and culture. There wasn't much time spent at all. Both of my parents were raised by addicts, and my dad was one himself. There was not much of a family feeling most of the time. The only thing I was raised to be was a Christian. Beyond that, I don't think my parents knew much of their identity themselves. We have a lot of estranged relatives, so I don't know much of my family history. Taking this course has been interesting because it taught me so much about culture and people. The strength that is found in some families that we read of, like the one in Toward an Epistemology of a Brown Body, is something so profound to me. The way that Cruz speaks of her family so warmly, and the memories she has of them growing up, and the knowledge of their past is captivating. To me, this course made me wonder and want to figure out where I come from, and dive deeper into the aspects of my identity that I've never known. I admire how culture and tradition has been passed down from generation to generation, and how important it is to some families, and even in some communities who maybe don't receive that familial support. Fights for protection of the expression and inclusion of one's identity. Reading all these accounts of the past reveals the true strength of people caring for one another, and that inspires me as a parent. It truly put a spotlight on humanity, the good and the bad. I just tend to try and take away more of the good. I've worked hard to break many cycles for my kids, as I believe that the greatest gift you can give to your community and your culture is raising beautiful examples of human beings to represent it, and one day become contributing members with values that will uphold it. And although sometimes it feels like I'm working with a blank slate, it's education like this that will help me do that with my children. I think personally this class gave me an in-depth perspective of the struggles faced by my peers and their ancestors. Sometimes it can be hard to understand or relate to someone, even when you want to, when you haven't walked in their shoes. This course gave me historical knowledge that helps me understand where we are in the world today. We learned in this course of migrants being treated like material goods, excluded or under-acknowledged parts of cultural history, government allowing migrants to take the blame for their decisions, stereotypes depicted and encouraged in film, unethical coercion of sterilization of Mexican mothers, just to name a few. Fast forward to today, And the world has become a very tense place these past few years, one that's been filled with activism, rioting, and public outcry over the continued injustices of marginalized people. The generational passage of education, history, and culture within families and within community, and extending that to their allies, is what has now led to this greater collective consciousness of the ugliness within this world and its need for change. If this course taught me one thing, it is that there are bad people in this world, but the only way that bad people can continue to prevail is if good people sit by and do nothing. There is a call to action, to every soul with a kind heart, every eye with the ability to truly see, every ear that is capable of understanding, and every voice that is made for shouting, to be the good that this world needs, to stop being silent when the oppression is loud, to look at their neighbor and to say that I may not know you, but just as I deserve a life of peace and a place to belong, as do you, my friend. To decide these may not be my problems, but I will be a part of the solution. I think it's important to become involved with the thing that tugs at your heart the most. For me, that's people who struggle with addiction, and that's why I'm here today, to get my degree and hopefully help some kids who grew up like me, and help some parents to make sure their kids don't. As for right now, I've been dipping my toes into the local mental health and addiction recovery community and pushing myself to go outside my comfort zone to become involved. While I thought my plans for my own facility were big, I recently met a girl who is a recovering addict and is working on advocating for and implementing policy change, who's been a recent inspiration to me. This class really got to the empath in me and shed light on some things that may be easier for some people to ignore. But the truth is, people have been hurt by this country and the people that live in it, and their hurt deserves to be acknowledged and repaired so that the world can heal and become a better place for the next generation.